Welcome out, everybody. We are here. It has been long awaited, not just Prolander coming to the EU, but now to see the grand finals in what should be a great one. We have Feila versus Engineer Fanclub, which is basically Ascent, and it's going to be a best of 3 map series starting out on Badwater V12, which I know is not, you guys typically don't play the pro versions of Badwater, so you guys are going to see that, and then it's going to be followed up by Ashville, and if needed, if it is a tied game, we will go to a 1 round of Upward for the decider. I am Sigafoo with CJ to my side and Wiethoofd behind the scenes. Real quick shout out to everybody out here. We have KritzKast obviously doing production, RGL.GG hosting the tournament. We had 62 teams registered in playing in this tournament today. Absolutely crazy turnout. And just big shout out to our sponsor, STN.TF, for sponsoring us here today. Just real quick to shout out about them. Great service, fast trading between TF2 and CSGO. So you can actually trade between CSGO and TF2 metal and as well as trade out your entire backpack instantly. They always have keys in stocks, and of course, you can always trust that you're going to get some reasonable prices there. So STN.TF, thank you so much for your sponsorship. And we're out here waiting for this. And I was talking to you, CJ, because, I'm an American. I do have done, some European casting, but these teams pretty well out here tonight. What are your expectations kind of coming into here? Do you think this is going to be a close match between these two teams?
I think it is, because yesterday I was talking to a bunch of these guys. I was playing some mixes and some pugs with these guys, and they were saying, "Oh yeah, you playing in the 7v7 tomorrow?" I said, "No, I'm going to be casting with Sigafoo." So we're playing, and I was talking to Viljack. He said, "Yeah, I'm playing with the Feila roster." And I was like, "Okay, it looks like an interesting roster." And I saw Disky was talking. He's like, "Oh, I'm playing with these guys." I was like, "Okay." So I was like, "These are going to be two strong teams." So when I've walked in here, missing all the action of the day, and I see these two teams in the final, not really surprised. I think it should be a very interesting game. You keep saying it's like an Ascent mix, but we've got technically a Disky is a 7 player now, and Seeds, the medic, is trialing for 7. So that's also a big name for in European 6s. So yeah, I mean they've got I would say the 6s pedigree with a couple of well-known Highlander players. Ascendery was one of the better pyros back in the season 7-8 era. With Premtech and Bacon has been a really, really good heavy for a number of teams, whereas I think the Feila team is much more Highlander orientated. A lot of those guys got to the grand final of TF2 Highlander last season in Prem, so they've got a lot of experience. So it should be really, really interesting matchup of styles.
Yeah, I'm kind of curious, especially when you're going to play on a payload map. It's kind of interesting because when we see Froyotech play inside of the North American Invite League, one thing that's really interesting, they actually do surprisingly well inside of payload maps, and especially on Badwater, is because it's a map that rewards aggression a lot, and payload in general rewards aggression really well. And so you kind of see where Highlander teams will be a little bit passive because they're used to having clutter. It's 9v9. There's a lot of players, a lot of bodies out there. As we are counting down here, the game's going to be started up here in about 60 seconds after the setup time. So it's going to be Feila starting out on offense. It's going to be Engineer Fanclub starting out on defense. But that's one thing to watch out for, is as much as you can be like, oh, 6 players don't know payload is about aggression, and that tends to, and honestly, having no real great knowledge of payload actually helps you out because it allows you to adapt to the format. This is not Highlander. It's faster paced than that. It's more dynamic because you have the class changes, and so you just can't get in that mindset of the slow pace of what Highlander's like. You need to have your foot on the pedal as much as possible. As starting out here, we can look through the classes. So one thing that we're seeing is Disky starting out on Spy. Both teams actually starting out on Spy. I think Vidjack, obviously, he's a fantastic spy in the EU scene. Not surprising to see him, but a spy for the defense is kind of pointless because there's not a lot of picks you can do. Actually, is he still in spawn? Oh yeah, he's still in spawn.
Having a look at unlocks, I think, and he's actually changed off to Pyro now. So I mean, Adisky and Funds were both part of the Strong Opinions team with me that won Prem last season, so they have a lot of Highland experience. As has Bacon and Ascendery. So I think those guys are going to be maybe trying to, be the brains behind this operation. But yeah, I mean, I'm interested to see how Pyro is going to be in Prolander, because last time I casted with you, Sigafoo, this was before the Jungle Inferno update.
Oh, and actually, this is going to walk straight in, but the Pyro gets blown back. There's actually no one to follow up. The demo and kind of spam from below. The medic actually gets caught out. And they didn't even get the force off from the enemy medic. Finally does get popped up into here, going down incredibly low. It's going to be Disky with the flog, getting down some damage. The gun goes down as a cart's rolling up here, but the thing is is, you know, it's great that you use that Uber charge, but the cart's so far back, it kind of really didn't do much. And Credo getting a nice headshot onto Vidjack, who is standing onto the cart, so that's going to slow it down just a little bit more. And I'm kind of curious to see how they want to push this now after that stifle. Looks like they're going to go up from the valley side.
Yeah, I mean, they got the Uber out of the way at least, so they can maybe make some space for their team. Their sniper is maybe trying to make some shots onto someone important. The teleporter is down, so you know, that's something. Elikor getting quite aggressive, and the Diski's coming from behind. Oh my days, Flog crits. That is a 4K for that man, and includes the medic there, so huge Uber advantage for Seeds now.
Wow, and that's the thing you have to be careful about. You know, crits on the Pyro, that's something you also have to track. Where's the Pyro when he's running Flog? I mean, you get the advantage that you can push into enemy teams since he doesn't have Air Blast, but you gotta be careful about that. Currently, no Spy currently up for the offense, so no Spy capping can go down. This card's very close. Sentry Gun also got taken out incredibly low, got reset back up, and it should go down. Rescue Rangers coming back up to be able to do this. One pick on Funds, as it's currently 7 men basically trying to push up the valley side. Finally, one gets taken out. Seeds, though, that's a drop coming out on Seeds. Nice job from the sniper, and we'll see if they'll be able to work off of that.
Elikor jumps in. He's trying to get Layla. He lands one pipe, but he's still alive. He's on fire. It's not enough to take down the power couple that is Joe and Layla. And this is probably the biggest opening they've had so far. Credo is still alive, and he's taking down V-Clocks. If he's not careful, he's going to take down Layla. Layla lands an arrow. Viltrak's going to finish off the sniper. Seeds is actually in here. Seeds might get caught out. He's in there with Bacon, and they're trying to block the car together. Middle jumps in. That's an easy frag for Middle. Oh my days, I don't know what they were thinking. They're trying to stay in, and that's a huge Uber advantage for Layla now. They should roll this over second.
Yeah, they should be able to just walk straight through. I think that's also one of those things of not knowing the map. In Pro, you can actually walk through that shutter, but only the offense can, so it allows you to push through. They actually dropped their demo. They're going to bust out their Uber as it gets popped up. That sticky trap lands, and he's not even completely disconnected from the medic. I believe that was was it a Flog out of the Pyro there? No, it was not, but he able to pick that up. So beautiful sticky trap that completely counters that as Elikor picks up one, trading out his life. The cart's rolling up here, but the second point should go down in the favor of Feila as they are walking this forward.
Yeah, I mean, this Sentry is trying to wrangle and block the car. Bacon's really far forward, but I feel he's going to put the crits. Oh, Diski, it takes down Poker, but it's basically just a trade, and Bacon also went down there, so this is a bit of momentum now, I feel, for Feila. They can walk forward. There's a really small Uber advantage, not much to play off, but they've taken down 2 players, but Joe goes down to Funds. Funds is just so aggressive, just going to walk in there with the me shots. V-Clocks is now going to babysit Layla, and Middle has taken really nice ground here. He's in this upper area, which is so important in Highlander, and there isn't even a sentry up, because the sentry had to pull his sentry really far back, so he's going to get some free spam down there, and I think Feila totally in control now. Elikor gets dropped as well, so so much space, and they're just getting frags here.
Yeah, they're doing a good job. I mean, this might be a little bit of the inexperience coming out from the Sixes side that you don't hold passively on third. You cannot defend this point like this, but they're going to try to do it. Here comes out the Uber charge. It's going to be a little bit better for the red side, but the cart already gets capped because of how far away they were. And so it doesn't really matter that Uber charge. They really just need to back out because any players they lose right now are going to be on long respawn. 22 seconds for the sniper that just died as they're continuing to push forward here. 6 players alive currently on the offense. They're trying to back up. Aggressive level 3 Sentry Gun up as well as Feila is going to walk into that. Joe goes down here, but we'll see what they can do as they continue to walk forward.
Yeah, I mean, this is an opportunity for them to absolutely roll this onto the final point. This sentry is really imperative, and it actually does help take down a couple of players. Proki is on fire right now, but no, it's actually Credu who's going to respond in kind and get a headshot onto Viljack. And this may be an opportunity for just for them to stabilize. They need to get themselves back into the game. Seeds is going to have Uber now, so I expect maybe Middle and Joe are going to go for some coordinated bombs. Not sure if we're going to see a Spy maybe go for a bit of a sap and a stab or something like that. But we're just seeing Credu. He's not getting pressured right now, so maybe a Spy would be a good option. Dropping a couple of players. The Uber is actually used, but Layla goes down. 99% she had, and Adiski takes her down with the flames. A couple of people die here. Poker is in really, really deep. Takes down a sentry as well, so that sentry is out of the picture. But that is so clutch. Feila could have rolled that and could be winning this round right now if it wasn't for the fact that Layla dies. 99%.
It's just the most brutal thing ever, you know, and God, it's just so tough, but right now, they put up a decent time, 350 through the first 3 points, but, you know, obviously starting to get slowed down here. The one thing that you could see on the offensive side, it sounds a little bit unconventional, but running an engineer is not the worst idea in the world, and that's purely to be able to get that teleport up. As actually Joe's doing a good job. Actually gets 1 frag, actually 2 down currently for the defense. Make that 3. Now onto a 23-second respawn. They have to back up. The blue team's walking, and Funz does pick up Layla, but will it be enough? He's on the backside, gets down incredibly low, picks up 1 more. He finally does go down, but the heavy's up in the map room. The cart is starting to roll forward. Level 2 sentry gun in the backside. The soldier is trying to spam it down. Actually, it's a level 1. As the heavy drops down, the cart gets 1, but this takes him out. The scout is going to go down as well, and the defense is coming up here for the NG fan club as the soldier's going to trade out his life. The respawns are back up. And not a bad dry push coming out there, though a nice sizable advantage here for the defense.
Yeah, they would have loved to have got the medic there. And you can just see it was really just individual plays there. Bacon dropping from the window just to clean up that cart. An arrow from Seas to take down Vildrak. He could have got, but you see an aggressive Uber now, actually, from Engineer Fan Club. Layla is going to run away. Funz is going to be on the chase. Can he get at the Pyro? He's doing a best, but he does take down Layla. Medic dead. It's cost them 3 players, but they pretty much crippled Feila. It's going to be impossible for them to get much done here. Big bomb from middle, but that sentry does finally go down. And that's there's been a big obstacle for them to get rid of here. The sentry's just been building them passive and then moving them forward. Adiski is now on the soldier as opposed to Pyro, and I think he just wants that spam in the choke. That's probably a better class of choice.
And so here we go. Heavy's dropping down. Questionable choice out of Hoaxer there, right there. I don't really know what he really would have gotten in that situation. You know, with the level 3 cinch gump, nobody's helping pushing with them. You know, this is Feila. They just need to get a push together. That's what got them to success last time. You know, just maybe, and as you said, you know, maybe a spy play would be a good idea here. Scout's not going to really do much for pushing on to his final point, right? Like, you're going to be pushing into, you know, a heavy, into an engineer. Those are your counters. You know, I believe they have a Pyro as well. No, they'd actually arm running Pyro, but actually 3 players currently down for the defense. Maybe they'll be able to work off of that. But yeah, I mean, you don't have to stick on the conventional classes. You got to look at what the enemy team's running and run based off of that. Absolutely, and we do see an Uber exchange here, which the longer it goes on, it's going to be better for Engineer Fan Club because they're going to be getting their respawn soon enough. Poker is very, very weak. It does go down to Credu. Middle bombs in and takes down that sniper, so there's not going to be much sniper pressure. V-Clocks comes in. We know how strong the Pyro is. Can he get Seeds? He does get Seeds down. Running that shotgun. The sentry has moved his sentry. He's on the top ground. He's on the high ground. He's going to wrangle it. Vildrak doing the best he can, but he's going to get taken down by that Wrangler. Essentially on a 3k with that Wrangler sentry, and it just seems that they're focusing some classes, but they're not getting down the right classes. You know, Credy went down early on in that fight, and that's good. You get rid of the sniper, but you really want to be getting rid of the medic, get rid of the demo, the heavy, the NG, something like that. And it just seems that they're able to regroup and just hold on for a little bit longer. And this is proving tough for Feila. Yeah, it was, you know, this is where I was kind of talking about, you know, potentially an engineer could be good, because the thing that Feila is struggling with is sustaining their fights. They're getting out the early frags, but they're struggling to sustain the fights. And usually, if you have your heavy alive, you have him on high ground, so he keeps alive. 2 early frags out, coming out here for Feila. They currently got the advantage, but they lose V-Clocks, who pushed in alone. They're trying to get the heavy working through map loom, but it's eating so much damage. Level 3 gun in the background. It's going to get spammed down from the soldier. They're trying to do everything they...
Seeds went down there. Poker's up there, and he's got Pro Key for company. And just the body shot takes down the medic. So if Layla survives here, she's going to have a huge free Uber, essentially. She's on the cart with Vildrak at the moment. She is going to get her charge. And Funz is going to try and force it. Finally gets used. V-Clocks is in choke. Is going to take down a Disky eventually. And he gets a nice flash there, actually. They're cleaning up the frags now. There's only 1 alive, and that is the respawner of Seeds. But that was a huge play there. Poker was pretty much useless, spamming from the window. But he was actually just protecting the sniper, who ended up getting the big key pick. 9:26 Sigurfur. I don't know if that's a good time or a bad time, but it seems kind of on the long side to me. It is very long. I mean, especially in Prolander, where it's so fast paced, you tend to see times like, so inside of Highlander, an average time might be 8 minutes, you know, give or take. A 9-minute might be a little bit of a slow time. Instead of Prolander, an average time on Badwater is 6 to 7 minutes. So you know, we had a cast earlier in the season where there was not a single round that went above 6 minutes in total time. Sure. So you know, it's
can be very fast-paced, but they did a nice job. It was really just down to Engineer Fanclub having such a solid defense at the final point there, doing a really good job at rebuffing Feila, but Feila also kind of just failing to push together. So now that we see Feila, they're going to be on the defensive side. We'll see what they can do. 9 minutes and 30 seconds. As I said, it's a slow time, but of course, everything's possible. You can get this defense up, and currently the classes are seeing a heavy engineer, so just it seems that the European side is going for a lot of just defensive classes early on here, so no spy play, and we don't have a soldier on defense either.
Interesting choice. I mean, yeah, I guess they just want to opt for this kind of lineup, and yeah,
it's questionable.
It is questionable, and we see the suicides come in from the explosive classes. Elika and Adiski just totally denied that. Philjack is a casualty, but hey, it's a scout on defense. It's not going to be the end of the world. Looks like a gas passer there, actually. People are covered in that petrol, or whatever you want to call it. And Poker is just tanking the damage, takes down Credu there. He's just not scared to walk forward and just tank the damage and give some space for the rest of the team. And actually, both him and Joe die there. So they were doing really well and just got a little bit too aggressive as the respawns came in. And that's going to be an opening for Engineer Fanclub to just walk forward here and get some cap time.
Yeah, we'll see what they can do. The teleport is up for the engineers. That's going to allow them to get forward quickly. The sentry gun is starting to be contested as Bacon does get taken out here, so no heavy for the offense. The cart is being protected by the sentry gun. Nice job by the engineer being able to keep that up as the sniper is trying to work up Valley side. Good job right now out of Feila. Great defense as they're continuing to pick up frags. Sentry gun does go down as that soldier's not being contested over on the far hand side. That's one of the downsides of not having their own soldier to have that extra mobility to try to contest that. But the engineer is going to be able to get a sentry gun back up here, but here comes that the overtrade.
Yeah, this is really good actually. So many flashes having to use by Feila just to keep their players alive from that Pyro. A Sentry on his favorite class right now. He's going to get finished off by his opposition number, V-Clock. Sentry gun goes down again to Bacon. Big bomb from a Adiski lands, run rocket, 2 rockets takes down Layla, and the dispenser for good measure. That's a big pick, walk forward. Feila are just in a corner right now, their backs to the wall. It's going to be hard for them to get out alive.
Yeah, sorry, there's I think a mistake coming out of Funds there. He went for frags rather than the objective. The objective is the most important thing in this format. That's one thing that you do see sometimes Sixes players overlook, is that because he was right there. Nobody was looking at Funds. He was standing on the cart completely alone. Everybody was fighting forward, and he could have walked that cart in over the first objective, but he opted to try to go for frags, and he ended up not getting it. So here we go, the push coming in from Engineer Fanclub. The soldier gets buffed back as the sentry gun goes down early in the fight. Joe goes down. No demo man on the defensive side. This is going to be a little bit hard for the defense, though they do pick up one frag onto a Adiski. They're trying to continue to work up onto this Valley side. Damage is coming out. The demo man does go down.
Yeah, big headshot from Credu. Yeah, I mean, that was the big one. No, look at V-Clocks. He's in on the medic, and he actually gets the force. Huge play from him. That could have been a sort of a replica of what Engineer Fanclub did previously on their defending phase, but they actually managed to get the force there. So Layla is going to have an equal charge and probably going to be opting to defend third, perhaps. There is a sentry from middle on second, maybe just trying to catch somebody out. Gets a little bit of damage down, but it's not going to really do that much. And that's a few minutes chalked off on the first point, so I think Feila are going to be pretty happy with that, actually. They seem to have a strong hold, and if they get a solid third hold, then they're still totally in this game.
Yeah, they are built up. They also do know that Adiski has switched off to Spy. He was spotted, so they are checking for him pretty hard. Engineer doesn't currently have a gun up onto the third point, so second point tends not to be one that it's hard to defend unless you get out of the first point effectively, so that's why you saw that one just being given up. And nice job out of Vidjack actually taking down Credu in the boiler, kind of playing a little bit sneaky, not allowing that sniper to work himself into the third point here.
Yeah, I'm wondering, Adiski is just on the pipes here, giving some intel perhaps, but I think he's just waiting for some sort of pick. I'm actually looking at the sentry from middle. He's not built a dispenser to block the stairs, which is, the normal Highlander strat to block the spy. And Adiski, I don't think he's actually been spotted there by V-Clock, so now Feila are aware, but there's so much cap time, and the Uber comes in, so much damage onto Bacon. He is kept alive, but they've dropped 2 players from this, and Bacon has to be careful. He's going to get caught in. Poker is on the high ground, putting so much damage onto everybody. V-Clocks comes in for the finishing off of everybody, trades his life for 3 players, and he's going to be very, very happy with that. Another minute off the time, but the cart is so close, and Funds has walked upstairs. He takes down Layla.
My
He
gosh.
steals the sandwich from Poker and tries to continue his slaughter. Joe takes him down, gets revenge for his fallen partner, but that is a huge pick, an uber advantage for Seeds.
Adiski also onto the direct hit now to help take down the sentry gun, so you can see the item trades working themselves out to try to help counter the enemy classes as it's helping them out. As Fun took down the medic, taking down the sentry gun, and now Heavy just walking up the cart. And so the Ancient is going to have to back out here, might not get out alive. No, he's going to get picked off here, and so now it's on Feila, the final point here. But that Fun's pick combined with the sentry gun takedown, that really opened it up. They could have easily gotten a lot more time off of that third point, but now 4 minutes left on the clock here for Feila to defend this.
Oh, Borky! Borky's in from behind, he's still on the high ground! Nobody realised he was there, and he just waits for Seeds, goes for the body shot, and takes him down, and it's absolute catastrophic push from Engineer Fanclub here. Everyone dies. A reflect from V-Clocks is going to take down Adiski. Credu is trying to go from the window, but he's been spotted. There is milk, there are stickies being thrown at him, and from one big play to another, Sigafu. Proki just responds in kind and takes down Seeds, and wow, Layla with the uber advantage again.
You know what, I these guys gotta play CSGO a little bit more. They gotta check their corners, alright? This is basics, come on. You know, but no, nice job at Proki. It's something you never expect. The sniper holding back on the backside, getting that nice body shot onto the medic, giving himself a nice advantage. Here comes the double bomb in onto the enemy medic. Is he gonna hold out? He holds out with such tiny HP. He does not pop. Layla, I'm sorry, that's a her. Just fantastic job. Wow. Crazy. How do you hold through that? I mean, she was down to like 10 HP.
She actually went down to 1 HP.
What?
Actually went down to 1 HP and didn't pop. That is, excuse the term, but that is balls of steel. To not pop there, especially with, you know, the Iron Bomber these days. Adiski goes in for another bomb. He's going to land 2 rockets. Layla still doesn't pop. She's not. She does now. Finally goes in. Going to trade a lot of players here for it. Seed still has 100% in the bank, and he's very, very safe. Nearly on second, actually. But wow, just that really bought them so much time there, Sigafu. That is excellent play.
The thing though is they don't have a sentry gun up, so now they don't have an uber advantage. They're gonna get pushed into, and they don't have a sentry gun to distract the enemy team. So what the big thing right now is when the blue team comes in, they're gonna need to. Oh, Seeds got taken out. A drop. Seeds, Procky coming in huge once again for Feila as they're gonna continue to hold on to this.
Oh, reflect! V-Clocks is on a mad one. He is just protecting Layla with his life, reflecting anything that comes in. Credu's in the window, might get a cheeky pick. Actually gets some damage onto Joe. And Funz is going to come in for the follow-up. Actually gets taken down. If he'd gone for Joe, might have actually got the pick there. Maybe there wasn't communication on how much damage Credu actually did to the demo man. 2 minutes and 10 seconds. Still a fair amount of time to hold on to, but it's looking better and better for Feila. With each passing push, they have Uber once again, and Seeds dropping a couple of times here. So it's been difficult for Engineer Fanclub to find a way into this last point.
Yeah, it looks like they're going to try to work it through the map room. Currently, they have 3 players in there as the Pyro is coming onto the cart. Funz goes down to Cindery. The cart pusher goes down as well. 100% ready to go for the enemy team, and wow, nice job coming out of Feila, just focusing that map room.
Oh, but Layla dropped.
Oh, no.
Joe did such a good job, and Elikor was just spamming from the window. Layla was trying to hold on and took too many sticks from around the corner, and she dropped. So that's another drop in the game between these two medics, and Seeds now has the Uber advantage. It's about 90%, getting ready to push. And this is going to be edge of Seeds time now for Feila. They really need to win this fight.
Yeah, a minute left on the clock. This is very pushable. If they get a complete wipe here, they will be able to do this. One defense. Feila will be able to hold on to this point and probably come down with the round win. Here we go. Uber charge is going to come out. The conscious out, though, for the defensive side. We'll see what they can do, but they can't find the team players to hit. Funz, the scout does get taken out here, but one more going down. It's almost just 3 players left alive. The scout's going down to the upper side. 55 seconds left in the clock. 12 seconds for these respawns, but so much pressure onto the cart. I don't know if it'll be enough. The Devilman is going to be able to spam down onto here, but he finally does go out. The scout with the milk is going for the heavy. Goes down as well. 2 seconds left. They're going to get the respawns up, but it shouldn't be enough as Engineer Fanclub is going to walk with this beautiful final push in there. As, again, I really question not running an Engineer on that final point. I feel like it might have helped them to be able to defend against those kind of pushes. It splits focus.
It really does. I mean, we saw how well Ascendry did with those sentries on last. He had them aggressive, and then when they went down, which, you know, inevitably they do to the spam, to the Uber, whatever, he built another one passively, kept his team with a bit of backline support, and once there was a calm in all of the chaos, he'd move it back forward, and there was just that constant. It's almost like an extra body, which, you know, the fewer numbers you have in a game, the better it is. We see how effective it is in sixes when there is a sentry. You really just have to get it out of the way, otherwise it's just going to automatically take you down. So maybe Middle was didn't really like the fact that you know, sentry was going down a lot. Felt that soldier was a better choice. He is a soldier main in Highlander, so maybe that's the reason for his choice. But yeah, I mean, closer than I felt it was going to be in the end there.
Yeah, I mean, I really love these logs coming out here. It's red, blue, red, blue, red, blue. You know, it's just a really close game. Actually, it's Vidjack on Scout with 27 frags, followed by Elikor at 20. Procky doing a nice job on Sniper with 20 himself as well. And then we have a 5-way tie for 19 frags of Fun, V-Clocks, Credu, Bacon, and a Disky. So Disky's at 18. I mean, this is just an incredibly close game if you look through these frags. And then both of the flex classes struggling a little bit at Sendere and Middle is both only with 8 frags. But, you know, it's one of those things where it's like, if you look back at that, you know, maybe like the Scout was doing work. But again, I think like I think there's arguments you can make about like, I mean, Vidjack was, I don't know, he's doing a good job, but I just feel like there's probably a class you could say like, okay, let's switch off that. Let's get the extra firepower, you know? Especially when Layla went down, you know, push is going to be coming in, you know, just something sneaky, I think would have been able to do a little bit more.
Yeah, totally. I mean, Vidjack is well known for people in the Highlander community as being a spy main. You know, he was one of the best spies around the sort of season 6, 7, 8 era of Highlander, but in sixes he is a scout main. He actually plays on my team, and he's absolutely insanely good. He's arguably one of the best scouts around in Europe right now, but he just plays on a team with friends, which maybe limits people's knowledge of him. And when you compare him to Funds, who is well known as being one of the best scouts in the world, actually outfrags him. But yeah, I agree. Maybe on that last point, maybe Middle, you know, staying to NG and then maybe putting Vidjack on Soldier, has experience playing on Soldier as well. That could have added that, like you said, a little bit of firepower just to block that point. The drop from Layla at the end there did, in the end, prove costly. There wasn't a big play to be made onto Seeds, which, you know, again, if Seeds had dropped there, then again, it swings. It was all swings and roundabouts, really, between the two medics, one of them dropping, one of them dying. And just in the end, it was just the advantage that proved costly. But it's really interesting to see how close it was. I think most people would say that Engineer Fanclub have the stronger players on paper, whereas Feila have the Highlander experience, which on a map like Payload, you know, you could argue that's going to be really, really important. But when I look at the players on Engineer Fanclub, we got Funds and a Disky. They were the scout and demo of the season for the past couple of seasons in Highlander. Ascendry, again, a pyro main who's done really, really well. So they do have that Highlander knowledge. Bacon as well, a heavy main at heart. So yeah, maybe now the more they play, the more they get used to the map, the more comfortable they're going to get with it, and love to see how that affects the second round.
The one thing I want to point out here is an interesting stat line, is that it was actually Engineer Fanclub who actually had about 3,000 more damage than the enemy team. So they had 3,000 more damage, right? So like 10 heavies worth of damage, but they had 2 less frags. So really interesting stat line there of like, that just means that, you know, Feila is doing a really good job playing around their medic, consistently being able to soak damage, but be able to keep themselves, you know, played up there. And I think honestly is we're going to be live in 90 seconds in the second half. Again, this is a best of 3 map series, so it's going to be best of 3 on Badwater, and then we're going to go over to Ashville and play a best of 5. But that was just, I think that's a really interesting stat line. I think it really just came down to, I mean, honestly, I think Feila's defense was good. I think you could argue about class changes for that, but I think their offense on the final point is what really did them in. If they just had they just were a little bit inconsistent with their pushes when they were on offense. And I think if they were able to, you know, sneak a minute off there, they would have done just a little bit better. But I'm very curious to see, as we're going to get readied up here pretty shortly about this. Any predictions, CJ? Do you think it's going to be a clean sweep on this map for Engineer Fanclub, or do you think Feila is going to put it out to an overtime round?
I really can see it going either way. I feel that Engineer Fanclub, like I said, are warming up to the map now and kind of working out what they need to do in order to move it forward. I mean, it could have been a much faster time for them if it wasn't for the fact of Seeds dropping a couple of times, or at least dying at high percentages to the sniper. So, you know, once you start to learn those sight lines, if you're not used to them, it's going to be really to your benefit. But I totally agree with what you said, that Feila, they held really well on last. I mean, all of that damage, you know, they got less kills or whatever, but the damage that came in was because they were surviving these suicides, and you know, they weren't getting picks. Adiski and Elikor were jumping in, so I feel that Feila, if they work out their attack and they work out what went wrong on last, they can, you know, chalk that down to a couple of minutes or so, then I feel they can get a round back here. I think this might go the distance.
So we'll see what they can do. Currently, it is going to be Feila starting out on offense. Looks like... Yeah, they should be changed again. Yeah, here we go. Yeah, there we go. So they are going to do their MP team switch. So there we go. Feila's going to be starting out on defense as they should, as they started on offense in the last round. So this is match point for Engineer Fan Club for this map. We'll see what they can do. Currently, the setup is going to be similar to last round. So we can see middle is going to be going Engineer, Poker on Heavy, Procky on Sniper. So not too many changes. And again, they're going with no Soldier for this first part, which... I guess, you know, Soldier, I mean, the mobility can be good to help move around, but Soldier's, you know, if you think about it, it's not that effective on the first point. Because he doesn't really have a lot, I mean, I don't know, he can be. I'm kind of
it's good for forces. I think, you know, if you want your soldier to bomb around on the cliff and get that force, it can be pretty good. But I agree, in Highlander, you generally have your soldier just on this far side, spamming and making sure your sniper's not under pressure. But with Prolander, it seems that the snipers are holding much closer to their combos and watching the sight lines, as opposed to trying to get aggressive on picks on this far side. So you don't really need that protection on the far side. So I kind of understand it. You want those more tanky players. A Heavy at 450 HP, a Sentry with his NG wrangling it. That's a lot of HP to get out of the way. So I agree with that. We'll have to see if they decide to keep it on the rest of the points. Bacon's actually on Spy right now, and he's going straight through to the tunnel. So no Heavy, a Sentry on Pyro, a Disky on Soldier. And maybe they're going to go for a sap as they come in for the Suicide. But the Suicide's coming really early on. Actually misses later, goes for the sap. And the Sentry is just going to get unsapped. Joe and Proki both going down. So those are two huge classes out of the game. But yeah, Bacon just focusing on that Sentry there rather than going for the med pick.
Well, you know, I don't think that it would have been a hard med pick to potentially get there. I think it was just miscommunication. All he literally needed to say was, hey guys, hold on 2 seconds, because that's all they needed. As they're starting to push up, the teleport is up for the defense, so that's allowing Joe to get to the front lines right away to be able to defend this card. Procky getting a nice headshot on a Kridu, so he's going to have that Sniper v Sniper advantage here for a little bit. This gun gets sapped once again by a Disky, who's now on Spy. But again, you know, if you're going to just sap the gun, it doesn't make any sense unless you have somebody to follow up that damage. They really just need to get a little bit better coordination out here. As a nice job so far for Feila holding on to here. We'll see, you know, the cart's in position. We might just see an Uber exchange coming out from Engineer fanboys. As it looks like they're just going to actually hold on to this.
They've actually got a third different player playing Spy now. Funds is now on Spy. So maybe trying to make a play and go for a sap. Disky jumps up and just gets a face full of bullets from Poker. So interesting Suicide. Again, no success from the Spy. I'm just wondering whether Elikor or Sindri are going to try for the Spy now, as they've just been cycling through the different plays. Maybe they just think, you know, nobody expects the Spy play 3 times in a row. Actually, it's going to be 4 times in a row because Funds is on Spy again.
Yeah, so we'll see what they can do right now. As Kridu, a nice pick up onto Procky, so they're going to be able to walk this up, maybe find a snipe. On the side, they still have 100%. They're pushing from Valley, though. That's a very hard angle to push from when you're even Ubers, because if you pop, you're going to have to be the first one to pop, or you're going to lose your Demo Man trying to push into this. So they have the direct hit up, but nice job. Look at that Pyro reflecting everything coming at that Sentry gun.
Yeah, it does a great job there, just denying it. And with the Wrangler, those bullets from a distance are going to do next to no damage. Bacon cleaned up there by Viljack, who's just on the patrol here, just listening to the calls from where the damage is and maybe just trying to finish people off. And now they're opting to go for a bit of a tunnel push here. Sentry and Elikor have got Seeds for Company, trying to get some spam down onto the Sentry. They do get a lot of damage onto it. He's going to go down eventually to that direct hit. Poker is also very weak. Has to get an arrow or something, otherwise he's going to die soon. And this seems to be a very good position because Poker has gone down. And it seems that this time they're just going to be focusing the cart, Sigafoo.
And they are getting a lot of cap time here, and now it's a little bit of a curious position, but here comes in Pyro, gets the force up. They need to just run through the shutter, there you go. Just like that, they should get Joe disconnected from his team. They should be able to get a kill, they get it, and now they're going to be able to escape out here. The Scout's going to run around the backside. but they probably just need to run away because they shouldn't be able to hold on to this.
Yeah, they do actually manage to get their medic out and taking down Elikor. That was, he says, map please. Maybe not a fan of Pro Badwater, but yeah, the shutter there doesn't open from the other side. And I'm going to get second off of the back of this. Poker is going to be respawning. That kind of solo play from the teleporter, not really working out too well for him. But 3 minutes 30 is about the same time it took Feila to push the first 3 points earlier on. So they're going to be happy for holding on that long, I feel. They do have an Uber advantage as well. It's minimal, but it's enough to really keep them there. But look at the aggression. And the sentry actually surfs the pipe. Oh my days, almost could make a play there. Elikor goes down to Joe, but they're just trading frags here. And it looks like Proki is starting to pick up a bit of the pace. Takes down 2. And I think Engineer Fanclub are going to have to back out now.
Yeah, it looks like they're going to have to back out. Even Uber is basically for this team. So, actually the scout, it looks like Funz is going to try to make a play again. Oh my god, no, this time he was shut down. Was able to get onto Layla. And nice job. Holding this upper area is very difficult to push into the enemy team. And especially with Poker, I mean, he's just doing work on heavy right now. Just nothing is getting by him.
I think the only downside at the moment is middle. His sentry is really passive. It's on the tracks. Ideally, he wants it up in that window where Proki is right now. Gives him a little bit of support, but also denies the cut. But the Uber comes in. Joe's going to get focused. He's nowhere near his medic. Gets taken out. Drop from the Uber. Lots of flashes from Seeds as he tries to keep his players alive. The rest of the Uber is just going to go onto V-Clocks for Feila. Big bomb in here from a disc. He goes for Proki. Takes him down, actually. And the repush from Engineer Fanclub is doing so well right now. Medic is still alive for both teams. But Layla is pretty much caught in here. V-Clocks is doing his best. Layla has to get out. She should get caught off. There is a sentry. Could buy her some time if she goes down from the drop down. Tries to get it out. She's actually 7 HP running in through tires. This could be a very, very late death, or it could be this escape at the sentry. Kredu is going to trigger. He gets a headshot onto her as she tries to go down spiral. And she's in the spawn queue for 17 seconds now. And what looked to be going so well is looking a little bit dire for Feila right now.
Yeah, they might be able to just roll completely against. I think that was kind of to your point about the Engineer Centric, and it was so passive that it didn't, help out the team. It didn't help out their team because, like, it didn't really do anything because they didn't push all the way around the corner. It needed to be a little bit more aggressive to be able to help them up. As Adiski walks all the way through, gets the sniper. He's going to go for the soldier, or the heavy as well. He's dropping down onto the cart. And this is just really good for the Engineer Fanclub. They're just putting just basically a death roll. Everybody on the cart, walking it forward. And we'll see if Feila can do anything right now, but it's looking incredibly dire for them.
Yeah, Layla's very weak. Does get finished off by the mini sentry. The sentry is switched off onto Engineer and is just basically pushing the cart there. Could it be less than 6 minutes? No, it's 6:04, but about more the time you were expecting, Sigurfu, around that 6 minute mark. Much faster than what we saw earlier. 2 minutes faster than Engineer Fanclub pushed in their previous phase. So it's a time to beat now for Feila. I think it's beatable for them. But I don't know, morale might be dipping a little bit there. They had such a good, strong couple of first points, and then on the third point, just, I don't know, that Uber exchange, playing with Joe further away from your combo. You know, if you drop your demo, it's very, very difficult. And the repush from Engineer Fanclub was so clinical. They just picked up the players. Layla trying to get out in time, it just didn't work. So I have to see what happens here. Viljack is currently on Spy. He did start off on Spy earlier on the previous round, but I'm wondering if he's just checking classes. But yeah, it's going to have to be some big plays coming out of Feila right now.
Yeah, I mean, 6 minutes, it's a very doable time. I mean, they got held on the first point for an incredibly long time, but I mean, payload maps are all about transitions and being able to work off of them, and it's just a really nice job out of Engineer Fanclub to... But it's honestly kind of a mistake out of Feila. It's just they just got completely caught out, and they needed to just have one, they needed to get together for one good defense because, they might have had a chance because they would have been down Uber, but Engineer Fanclub didn't have Uber yet, so we'll see what they can do. Feila is coming out on offense here. Here comes in the bomb in from the Demo Man. Nice job for the Wrangler. Soldier's a little bit disconnected. Can't find the medic as Seeds is all the way down at the bottom of the ramp, and early suicide wave in here, trying to get the force onto Seeds, did not get it, and just a reset as the cart pushes up.
Yeah, Viljack not playing the Spy, going for Scout, wins the Scout v Scout on the cart against Funz, and it's actually getting decent cart time, but no one else is helping him. But the drop comes in, Kredu domes Layla. She's going to lose that Uber, and going to be difficult. Seeds actually drops down from the high ground, so he's now got Funz for company, but might get pressured out here. Could get forced. Actually does get forced and pushed through there. Viljack with the meat shots, and that's kind of equalized things out a little bit. So what looks really, really bad for Feila is kind of measured out a little bit, and the cart's getting closer to that point.
Yeah, it also can be a little bit snuck in because right now there is no sentry gun covering the cart, so you can see that the scout is going to be able to get onto the cart, just a heavy pushing down on him, but he should be able to hide behind the cart if he wanted to. You just crouch behind it, man. You'd be able to cap this. He is looking to go get the sniper. And right now, not bad position for Feila if they can get a decent push off here. Is Heavy's on the cart now.
Yeah, Poker's actually standing behind the cart. He's not going to take much damage from that angle. And anyone who gets close to him is going to get minced there as Funds does go down. Poker's so very weak. Oh, he almost gets it. Gets finished off by the rescue ranger of Ascendary. But it does look like Engineer Fanclub are deciding they're going to hightail it out of there. Big bomb from Joe. He's sticking off their exit. Seas has to use the Uber. Vildrek's going to get the cap. Ascendary goes down, so there's not going to be a sentry for the next point. And this could be very, very bad for Seas. Seas goes down to Procre in the end. The Uber comes in. Adiski managing to get the force there and actually picks up like 3 players.
Yeah, Layla, I mean, I don't know what happened there. She just ran completely in. I think she got like a little bit popped up, and then she just like didn't run. Like if I know my Uber's about to run, like she wanted the pirate to die, but you know, you gotta be a little bit careful because if, you know, that situation happened where Layla's team was not able to kill the pyro fast enough, you're just gonna die. So their cart's gonna go down though in the favor of Feila here very quickly. 3 minutes and 41 seconds. The scout's gonna make some pressure actually onto them, picks up 1 frag, but ultimately gets traded out there. Engineer's gonna get a gun up on the backside. Seeds also got taken down from Procky. I didn't notice that, but that's gonna actually even out Ubers here. Actually, a little bit of advantage now for the offense.
Yeah, Layla died really early on, so actually this is looking pretty good for
Wow.
Feila as they're picking up frags. Sentry went down to middle, who also takes down a Sentry, and Joe trying to lock down that choke, but gets domed there by Credu. Funds is the furthest one forward, but not really the perfect class to be blocking the cart. And this actually is going to go down there with over 3 minutes to go for Feila to try and cap last now. Engineer is down. A Sentry is just going to respawn, see if he decides to go for anything. Elikor with the pipes. We know what that man can do. Takes down middle. But Brokey winning the sniper battle. Credu down. Viljak wins the scout battle. Takes down Funds. And this is a pretty decent advantage. Joe comes in and huge stickies. Takes down Seeds. Poker's up on the cleanup. There's only 1 player alive, and it's a Sentry.
And they're going to continue to walk the cart in here. They just need to get that sentry gun down. It is being wrangled currently. It's going to actually get the soldier popped up. It's going to be a little bit harder to take down. A lot of spam coming onto it. Finally does get taken out. Now we only have 3 players left alive for Engineer Fanclub. We'll see what they can do. The scout v soldier up top. The scout is going to win that as Fun wins that 1v1. The cart continues to roll forward. ×3 onto it as the pyro is pushing upside. They're going to finally, the respawns are coming in. They're dropping down onto the cart. Engineer Fanclub picking up the frags that they need. Elikor going down incredibly low. And the scout's not able to get this up, but the cart's in prime position. This would be a good time maybe to get a spy class for the offense, get a little sneak cap in there. 2 minutes left in the clock. Plenty of time to be able to capture this cart. Only about 20 feet to go.
Yeah, Layla has a full charge. Adiski goes down there trying to get the force or something, but gets gunned down by Poker, so he's not going to be in this next fight. And looks like Feila are going to decide to push this in from map room. There are some stickies just below the window, but the Uber's used really, really early on. It actually launches. V-Clocks into Funds, and he's going to take him down. The Sentry is down as well. A Sentry's trying to run away, and Feila are just going to focus the car now. They are going to get this with just over a minute to go. I mean, I doubted myself for a minute there, but Feila, you know, I said Feila could get back into this, but
yeah, and
you know, I kind of, after their defense, I thought, nah, you know, they've kind of lost it here. But no, they just totally picked up on their mistakes from the first round, and they've clawed it back.
well, and that was a 6 minute and something minute time for the offense. A minute 30 was left in the clock, so that was about a 4:30 time. I think that was sub 5 minutes. I'm pretty confident in that. And so they're going to start up ready right away here as we can try to jump to logs pretty quickly. But I mean, it just kind of shows you, I think it was just a really good job out of transition, out of Feila, working off their aggression. And then maybe just Engineer Fanclub, the Ascent team, just playing a little bit too passive on the points. We can talk about logs in the 60 seconds.
Yeah, I'm just taking a look, and Fun's top frag this time with 14. Poker actually as well getting 14, so Poker actually did a lot there. Especially on that last point when there was so much damage from Joe when he jumped in there, took down the medic, but Poker was in the choke just cleaning up anyone else who got close. Both medics dying the same number of times. Seemed they died a lot more times in that, but because it was a shorter round, it's only 5 each for them. It's kind of hard to decipher much from these stats, but it does seem that there was more players from Feila kind of getting the higher damage and the higher kill totals there, and it was pretty much equal on the team stats. He got 57 kills for both teams, so it was close, but it was just that push onto third from middle, took the high ground, took down the NG, the sentry, just opened it up for his team to really take the space. That just kind of opened the way up onto last, I feel.
Yeah, and I mean, Procky also having another phenomenal game. I think that helped him out a lot, getting a couple of those frags, especially on offense, getting that one onto the third point. And currently, he's winning the sniper v sniper as it's 5-2 in his favor in that last round. So actually, almost half of the frags for Procky were taking down the enemy sniper, and that's actually a really big deal because having the enemy sniper down means that you can get almost as aggressive as you want because you don't have to worry about the enemy team, taking your head off. You can walk into space. It's only really the demo man and more the explosive classes that can shut you down from walking forward. So continue to see. I think if Procky continues to have great games, we'll see what they can do. It's going to be Engineer Fanclub on defense starting out here. This is the third round in overtime just in the first map. We still have at least one more to go. We'll see what's going to be happening out here as a no spy play up for Feila. Here comes in the bomb in, double bomb in. Wow. Wow. What a headshot coming out of Kridu. Just absolutely disgusting coming out of there from the sniper, taking him down midair. Nice defense coming out from Engineer Fanclub.
Yeah, I mean, I got to credit Ascendry. He's got 3 kills just now with the Wrangler. He's just really taking it on himself to deny these bombs. Joe goes down there, and these suicides aren't really getting anything at all. There is cap time coming in from Viljak, just trying to get that cart start forward, and Poker's joined him now. Maybe get a bit more firepower as Kredu is going to look down this tunnel, see what he can do. Bacon drops down. A lot of damage goes onto him, actually wins that. Funds cleans him up, but that is a heavy down for the defense, so one less anti-aircraft gun. The sentry takes a lot of damage to the seeds, and he finally has to use that Uber. So there's an Uber advantage for Layla as she sits in spawn, all on her lonesome, as everyone else just got slaughtered as they ran in.
My favorite is, Kredu there was, he was at the bottom of it. Nobody was, he was up against a soldier in a demo. Neither of them saw the sniper, and he just took off both their heads. And with the teleporter up, this is one of the things is, one of the benefits of having a spy is you can take down the teleporter early on in fights. Procky does take down the demo man here early on. That's going to help them out as the fight's going down to the car path. Actually, everybody's dropping down here. Sentry gun is getting pulled away. Pyro picking up a frag, and this is looking very good for Feila right now. Only 2 players left alive.
Viljak says wrap in the chat, just to highlight the fact that yes, Feila just wrapped around them there. They're going through, and when they try to drop down from the high ground, Engineer Fanclub, they're getting caught out by the Feila players who are already on the objective. And worst case scenario, they push the cart a little bit further, but best case scenario, which is what happened, they clean up all the players as they try to retreat. So Uber advantage for Layla now. Seeds probably will get his charge before Feila decide to push there, but Joe is calling for it now. He wants to go. Layla's joining her heavy up top and trying to get aggressive here onto the Pyro. Adiski goes down, and they are taking this corner now. But it does mean that Seeds has an Uber, and he's probably going to use this aggressively because the cart's nowhere near to that third point.
Yeah, Layla just has to get out alive. They're using it going all the way forward. Delman's trying to chase them down, gets one onto the Delman as he gets blasted back, no longer under that Uber charge. And so now the advantage, again, is going to be very slightly in the favor of the offense. As much as I think it's, good to get the advantage there, I mean, it was kind of an all-or-nothing play because you needed to kill the enemy medic, because if you didn't do that, this is exactly what was going to happen. If they waited for even Ubers, and just did a standard push with the cart closer to position, I think they might have had a little bit better of a chance and just try to, fight off Uber after it happens. But we can say V-Clocks gets taken out there. As it looks like just Feila, this is the first time we're seeing a real defense coming up for Engineer Fanclub this entire game. And actually Spy is out, middle is now on Spy. So this might catch Feila or Engineers off guard because they're not expecting the Spy to be up.
Yeah, Kredu actually went down there, as does Bacon from the backstab. Elikor goes down to Brokey. The assassin classes are having a field day, pick up 3 kills in quick succession there. Layla and Seeds both on the same Uber charge here. There is a conch being used by Adiski. He's onto the soldier now, and he's holding it, probably waiting for that push to come in and just trying to help his team in the fight. But Joe wants to go in through main. That level 3 sentry from a sentry is in the window. The Uber is used really, really early. They're going to have to try and get the force here. Seeds finally does use, but 3 players go down from Engineer Fanclub. Early on in that fight, the sentry also goes down. This is looking really good for Feila right now. Engineer Fanclub have the better Uber, but they do not have the positioning. Middle, back on Soldier, getting really aggressive and just controlling that corner. Takes the high ground now. Kredu and Elikor are really close. I'm not sure if they know middle is behind them, but Kredu Still aggressive. Oh my word. Takes down Layla, and Vclox tries to charge him, and he's like, nope, you ain't getting close to me. That cart is tantalizingly close. But Engineer Fanclub, hold on.
And they're able to do it. Nice hedge. What is he doing? What has this man done today? Kredu is just absolutely going ham. So many beautiful headshots. Apparently, he just needed to get warmed up or something, as he's just playing a fantastic game so far. The cart is starting to roll backwards. It's one of the downsides of not having a spy is you can't tap that cart easily to keep it forward, and no one's actually touching it right now, really, so you could potentially get a spy cap with how close it is. They do pick up one frag out of funds, but they lose 3 on their own side, so just hurting themselves as they're trying to work forward. Soldier into the upper area. Might be able to get something here, but he's just going to get... Looks like the Heavy's just going to be able to push him out.
Yeah, I mean, this sentry and everything is really underneath this house. Middle's waiting for an arrow there, but Layla goes down to the sentry. I'm not sure what was the intention there, but maybe they didn't realize the sentry is actually underneath the house, so they've lost their medic, their Seeds, with the full charge. Some players go to make a play, but Seeds is protected by Dispenser, a sentry, and pretty much his entire team. So nothing really to do there. And as close as that cart is, it's not really made any more headway. Poco walks forward, tries to touch it just to maybe reset the timer. Actually, it's Vclox who does it, and he's actually standing behind the sentry. It's not being watched. Can't actually be shot by anyone right now. As they come in with the conch, they pick up a few players just to give themselves a little bit of breathing room. But Caesar's been holding onto that Uber for quite some time now.
This is just... It kind of reminds me of what happened in the first round with the push onto the final point. You know, it's just Feila. Once they start to struggle, they seem to just make really awkward, kind of questionable plays, and usually one by one. They're not really thinking together as a team. You know, if they just did a death ball of 7 onto the enemy team, I think they'd have a really good chance. I mean, the cart's so close, as you said. I mean, really, just one good push, just walk onto it, put 7 players up, and it looks like they're getting ready to do just that. They're sending 3 players through Boiler, but the Soldier picks up a frag onto one of them, ultimately gets traded out. 6v6, here comes in the Soldier, lead the charge, gets taken out though. The sentry gun did get changed out, now it's onto the opposite side. And Feila is just struggling here to do anything at all.
Yes, he was short on ideas. Ubik does come in, but it's used much earlier. Sentry finally does go down, but Bacon is on the high ground. Elikor's on the chase here. Viljak tries to catch him out, goes in, puts a lot of damage onto him. Kredu takes down Vclox. Elikor with the pipes is going to take down Layla. Middle has to go in for a bomb to make something happen. It does take down Kredu. He's going to come in from behind now. He's versus Adiski. Adiski's going to win that. Joe is actually maybe going to get the cut. He does. 4 alive for Engineer Fanclub. They're bleeding a few players. Seeds goes down to Joe, and if they roll this into last, it's still a decent time to get through, but they need to be quick about it.
Yes, they do, and we'll see what they can do as they continue to roll this up here. 6:32, not the worst time in the world, but slower than the last round. And but the last time they did such a good job working off of their transition. Adiski currently going down, Bacon going down as well in the window. So no heavy for the defense. Kredu though taking down Vclox. The Soldier! Come on! Are you kidding me, man? Another beautiful air headshot as he's just busting them out today. The Heavy on the high ground trying to do this, and it's actually causing Engineer Fanclub to play very passively as they might be able to pick up funds on the backside here. 40% advantage for Layla, so the big thing is don't die. Don't lose players on the offense here. Get a good push in, and they're going to easily be able to take this.
Poker was trying to go down through Spiral. I don't know, make a play on the sentry or force the medic or something, but he gets caught out. It's interesting as the Uber does come down from Spiral. They're coming from behind. They don't realize that they're there. Seeds goes down. And Elikor's going to get cleaned up as well. There's 2 players alive. Make that 1. It's a Adiski in choke. He's in behind. Going in for a bomb now, but everybody is on the cart. He is going to kill Proki, but the sniper pick is not what you need right now. Funds is going to milk that cart, but he's going to have to hit meat shot after meat shot. It's not going to be enough. Feila are probably going to win this now, get the cart in, 7:55. That was a really interesting... I think in all my time in playing and casting Highlander, I've never seen a team push in through Spiral, but obviously, you know, less eyes watching in through tires. That worked really well. Engineer Fanclub had no idea that they were there.
Well, and one of the reasons is that, you know, again, this is in the EU scene. You guys don't typically play the pro version of Badwater. Currently, we're playing on Pro V12. And so it basically, Pro V12 is exactly the same as the original Pro map. There's just like 4 main differences. Is the gate on the first point goes up so the offense can get out easier. On the 3rd point, offense spawns a little bit closer. On the 3rd point, you can't do the engineer dispenser block for the sentry gun in the upper area. And then on the 4th point, the back stairs has a ramp that every class can walk up. So all classes can go into the stairwell. It's not just the explosive classes. So that allows you to do a push like that. And that was just a brilliant push. 755, a good way to recover from not a great third point. And we'll see if they can put up a solid defense. They did about an 8-minute defense in the first round. So we'll see if they can do that again here as we get started on the overtime round on this first map.
Yeah, I mean, the pressure is on. We've seen some varying times from the team so far. We do see on the defense there is actually engineer heavy. This is what Feila seems to prefer to running. Poker just solidly running the heavy non-stop, and middle playing engineer at the moment. But Bacon is starting on the spy now. We saw 3 different players play spy in the last round. Bacon taking it, and he takes down the sniper. So Proki's down, the sentry's gone down, and Elikor also takes down Poker. So 2 players down and sentry down. This is huge. Uber's used by Seeds. He's really aggressively trying to get in from behind, but Layla doesn't have to use hers. She's not under any pressure.
Yeah, and it finally does come out. We'll see if they can pick up frags. That's the most important thing right now, is Layla needs to get some damage out. The Pyro getting pushed around, actually getting caught out. The Pyro's so completely finally does go down. The Pyro on the backside also for the offense, helping to pick up 1. As Layla is now disconnected. Layla's stuck onto the second point because of the door. Someone needs to come over to the gate and open it up so she can get back out onto the second point. Finally, she does, but that also might have kept her alive there for a little bit. So the first point hold going okay. Actually, slight advantage as Seeds did get killed there.
Yeah, Seeds got killed by Proki. During all of the chaos, Proki just headshot him, and it looks like going for a try-push now.
Not doing too bad. And I mean, the thing too is we're seeing a lot of big sniper plays. One of the reasons we're seeing the snipers have such a big game today is because they don't have their counter in the game. We don't have any spies to really keep them down. Snipers aren't as prevalent in the NA because of that. The scout's onto the card here. We'll see if he's going to be able to get finally. The Pyro's going to walk down and do this, but yeah, I mean, Proki and Kudu is having such great games, but it's just purely because they don't have pressure. You know, Prolander is all about choosing classes to counter classes, and if you don't choose that class, then you're going to let that one, flourish, and that's what's happening so far today, as Proki picks up another snipe onto a Disky.
It's the 2 Ps. Proki is just killing anyone who comes up this side, and anyone who gets close to them, Poker's finishing them off. They're absolutely slamming right now. Someone needs to make a move onto Proki. He's actually all alone on this far side, but he's just getting so much time and space to just take headshots. Like you say, he's not under pressure. A Disky maybe going for a bomb, looking for some space, actually running the direct hit. So trying to get that sentry down. Some nice damage onto the players, and Elikor's coming through the tunnel again, takes down 2, including Joe. The counter becomes in. Look at that flying Pyro! V-Clocks launched into the skybox, and it looks like Engineer Fanclub are going to control this. Layla, run away! Why are you trying to keep Wildrak alive? He is a goner! Actually, no, he's trying to run away with the speed boost from the scout. I take my words back. He's going to fight Funds now. Doesn't have a buff. Who's going to win this? 1v1. No, a Disky ruins the fun. Direct hit is going to take him down, but a couple of minutes there, pretty much 3 minutes almost, used for that first point from Engineer Fanclub. Really good hold from Feila. We're on to third now.
Yeah, we'll see what they can do. As nice headshot coming out of Kudu onto the Joe. That's going to slow him down a little bit. And, one thing that I just want to kind of point out is the thing I was talking about earlier. We had a game last week where, because a spy was being ran and was focusing the snipers so much, that Boar, one of the best snipers in the world, was forced to switch off because he couldn't do anything because the spy was harassing him so much. It's just like both these snipers are going really good, but I'm not saying the spy would be best in this position because honestly, both snipers are just going off. But just to I just saw some talk about snipe is, and essentially on very passive Ubers are out here. We'll see what they can do.
Yeah, Uber used, counter comes in, and this is pretty much your standard counter. 2 players go down for Engineer Fanclub. Their best plays have usually been the repushes, but they can't. Wildrak, so aggressive, is going to take down Seeds. So Layla, nice and safe and sound with the rest of her team, is going to have an Uber advantage now. Seeds going to spawn with Elikor. Have to regroup and think of something else there. And I think Engineer Fanclub have been really successful in pushing this third point, more so than Feila, because they've been going in with their Uber, forcing the defensive Uber to come out, keeping their players alive, and then re-pushing and just kind of winning the DM battle afterwards. But if you're losing 2 players in that Uber push, it's not going to work. A Disky, go for that cheeky strat where you jump over the building and try to direct hit the sentry. Actually direct hit Porky because there's nobody there and Porky takes him down. So no strats there as we try to look for the sentry, and again middle going for this passive sentry on the tracks, not deciding to have it anywhere near the house. So very aggressive here from Feila, trying to control the tracks and make sure Bacon doesn't take any ground. But yeah, Engineer Fanclub slowly making their way forward.
Yeah, I'm actually kind of surprised Bacon was milk there, and the Pyro was healing himself up while going through it. Vidjet gets taken down. The Sentry Gun, if it was just a little bit further to the left, it helped cover the cart. Heavy drops down onto the cart, going for it as his soldiers going up over the top, going for Proc. He does take him down. Now the Pyro's just getting the Sentry Gun, can't defend this. Joe comes down to be able to take this out. The gun is being healed back up as it's going to finally go down, but the soldiers behind 100% for each side, but it's just Joe to be able to defend this. And now the offense isn't even popping there since they know they don't have to. Joe needs to put some pressure onto Seeds. Here comes the scout as well. They finally will get the force off. The cart of the third point goes down, but they're going to lose 2 players. 17-second respawns for those guys because they got stuck in, and they are ready to roll into this final point.
I think they'll be happy with the force. I mean, they've got Poker, they've got V-Clocks, those guys can deny the bombs and get a decent amount of damage. As Disky comes in, Reflect, there we go, loads of damage. Double Reflect takes down the soldier. Elicor's trying to get aggressive, but WM1 is too strong, he's gonna take down Seeds! Oh my days!
Absolutely insane play coming out of Feila. And Sentry came down, got Layla as well, so it's going to be a little bit of an advantage for the defense due to the faster respawns. But the more important part is that Feila has the defense up. They're able to do something here. They're going to be running Engineer now on this final point. 1 second respawns. There we go. Now it's going to be a 7v7 with only about a 10% disad. That's really not that bad. 2 minutes left in the clock. And, wow, we'll see what they can do. Nice job early on there from Joe. As well as the Pyro getting an early frag here. Wow, really good job coming on the defense, but they just traded out E.
Look at Bacon, he's just got the high ground, he's gunning down Layla. He's actually going to take down Layla. No one's shooting a heavy. The Sentry is in now. He's going to take down Joe. The afterburn finally gets him, and they just lose a DM battle there. Feila have lost every single one of their players. 3 of them are going to spawn now, but they've already been locked down in the spawns. Vildrek's going to run out the best he can, but he's not going to get, he gets headshot there. And it is going to be Engineer Fanclub who win Badwater 2-1, but that was just a pure dry push. Players in the right positions, getting the right players at the right time, and who needs Ubers when you can just DM your way in?
Well, another big thing with it was it was kind of, I think, a bigger mistake coming out of Feila, where it was just like Feila overextended looking for frags. You know, they picked up 2 frags. You don't need any more than that. Like, that's going to stifle a push on its own. But because, like, the Pyro just kept pushing in alone, and then you lost funds, you lost 2 people on the side as well. I didn't see exactly where it was. I think it was over in tires. It's just like, there's no benefit here. Like, your team did what they needed to do. You know, having a 1 player down is enough to be able to stifle a push instead of Prolander because of the so few player count. But having 2 players down, like, it's going to be next to impossible to win a fight 5v7 on offense. And so just, you know, once they traded out the 3, as you said, it just came down to a DM fight after that. And the bigger thing was just a really smart job coming out of the heavy of Bacon of just keeping the high ground and just spamming down. Didn't even have to drop down. And that really worked out well for them. That honestly should have been Feila's game. They really had every chance there.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. This is something, we see the difference in Highlander and 6v6, that overextending in Highlander, if, you know, 1 or 2 players die, you can usually kind of counter that by just being like, okay, let's play a little bit more passive and protect our players. In 6s, if you throw in a couple of players, you're down a third of your team, and it's very, very difficult to recover from that. And yeah, Feila went in with 3 players who died. And okay, you may pick up 1 or 2, but if the respawn time is better for the attacking team, then they're just going to re-push in with more players and end up winning the game. So, I mean, I would say on the face of it, that's a surprise. You would expect this map to be more suited for the players of Feila. So I think Engineer Fanclub are going to be the happier. I mean, obviously they've won it, but they're going to be very happy. So we're moving on to Ashville now, I believe, which is much more DM orientated. And I think that's going to be much more to the tastes of the Fanclub team.
Yeah, we are going to be switching over, and I think this is really, I think Feila needed to win this, but we have seen, so really the next map, one of the interesting things is that, like, in particular, if we're going to look over at, like, NA, Freyotech actually struggles more on cough maps than they do on payload maps, which is, I think, a really interesting thing. And the big thing for Feila, they have fantastic DM players. Procky was going off that game, but this is also going to be a game where snipers are not going to be nearly as effective. You know, you're not going to be able to rely on Procky to be able to hit those shots because it's just not as good. I'm kind of curious, if they're going to be able to pull it out, but it's the big thing is it's just like what classes are they going to run? But we can switch over to logs here. And so top fragging that game, it was tied between Credo and Procky at 20 frags apiece. So both snipers going off because they don't have any of their counters in the game. And then behind that, it was just Adiski and Elacour doing work as well. And it kind of seemed like a lot of Feila players down in the bottom, but it's kind of crazy to think that they were so low despite being so close for that game.
The thing I find the most interesting is in the first game we saw Viljack top frag, and then the second game we saw Fun's top frag. So both scouts top fragged in the first 2 rounds. In this one, they're basically at the bottom. Viljack with 10 and Fun's with 9. They're at the bottom of the table essentially. So many players above them. So maybe people just kind of realizing the scouts are running in and just trying to frag and just eliminating them from the map before they get the chance to do that. But yeah, both snipers clearly warmed up here, which is going to paint a good picture as we move on to King of the Hill. But I mean, it'll be interesting to see what kind of class composition we have. I'm expecting to see, more pyros and soldiers, maybe less engineers. I expect Middle's going to play soldier over engineer, and Adiski's going to be playing soldier, sentry, pyro. These are all their main classes, so they're going to be very happy with this. But yeah, these logs pretty much, it looks equal across the board, really. Joe, again, quite low with the frags, but getting enough damage to really, put the damage out for his team to clean up on, which I think is the way that they've been playing. But yeah, I mean, it doesn't really tell the whole story. We did see, it's just tactical decisions that I felt unpainted. I mean, what kind of flow are we going to expect from this game? Do you think it's going to be very fast-paced on Ashville, or is it going to be a little bit more slow and calculated, what we've just seen on Badwater?
I mean, it really just kind of depends on the teams. It can be played really fast. Like last week, we just played Coal Plant, and one game it was non-stop action, and the other one, both teams were really methodical and taking their time and waiting for their pushes and stuff like that. So, it's one of those things where it's, I'm guessing that we're going to see a fast-paced action. It's going to be probably pushed by, Engineer Fanclub, because there's just a lot of great Prem Sixes players who are going to be used to playing at that, fast-paced side of things. I think it's really just going to come down to the question of the class composition. I think that's really the mindset that Feila is going to have to come in here. It's like, this is the thing that we saw, like, it kind of throws Froyotech off when you do it, is like, don't come off with what you want to do, like come out with classes that counter the enemy team and mess with them, and I think you'd be surprised about how effective that can be. So if the enemy team is running, a sniper and a heavy, maybe a spy could be more effective, maybe not all the time, right? But just like throwing that in there a little bit more consistently. Engineer can be very good because of that extra just damage output, having that more consistent DPM. It's one of those things that we see Froyotech run a lot. They run almost like a ton of engineer, but pretty much you want to see, the one class that we're definitely going to see full-time is going to be a Pyro. Pyros are just so powerful right now, especially on Koth maps and stuff like that. And so I think that flex class is pretty much going to be selected out, and it's really just going to be kind of a question of that final remaining one. Do you go for a heavy? Do you go for an engineer? Do you go for a spy? And I don't think there's necessarily one correct answer, but I think that Feila should definitely be mixing up with a spy on occasion to kind of throw off the Engineer Fan Club, because I think it might catch them off guard, assuming that Engineer Fan Club does run a very heavy composition, which I'm guessing they will.
Yeah, I think they're just going to go with the classes they're most comfortable with and play around that. I agree with what you're saying, actually. An engineer with a mini sentry could be very detrimental, because we've talked about the players on offer here, and I do feel these two scouts are two of the strongest in Europe at the moment, so they're really going to be the ones that are going to be popping off and trying to get the frags and really just do so much damage behind the scenes. So if there's an engineer just putting up mini sentries here and there, that could really just stop the effectiveness of a scout. So it'd be interesting to see. I mean, you'd have to question who's going to switch off. Poker is a very, very good heavy, but there have been sort of, I've never seen him play anything else, so I'm not sure if he's going to be convinced by his teammates to switch off to engineer. I would say it'd have to be someone like Vclox or Middle, but so far, Middle seems to prefer playing the soldier, like we saw in Badwater, switching off on the last point, and Vclox is just so far just perma-pyroed, and, Pyro, like you said, is just so strong these days, it really needs to be in the game. So I have to see what kind of happens, and whether the teams try to adapt to each other. Spy, I think there are some players here who could do a bit of damage on Spy. Remains to be seen, I guess. But this is Ashville, and I don't know, Sniper. I think if you get more pressure on the Sniper, your team is going to have a better time, because if your Sniper is just allowed to free roam, it's just so strong for you.
Well, and I was going to say is that's the other thing that you could look at is maybe you switch off your sniper. I mean, it's kind of hard to say that because you got two of these amazing snipers. as they are going to be live in 90 seconds here, so not too long, and we're going to get readied up. But sometimes maybe again, like it was a cold plant game. Freutech's Boar switched off a sniper because he's being focused so much, and he was going like spy pretty consistently or engineer to get the extra DPM output. This is a map that, despite having great snipers, it can be hard to get frags on just because you can never really get comfortable. It's very easy to be able to go for flank plays and stuff like that. So very curious. I think just the big thing is like, today in the EU, they're still pretty new to the meta. They're not very, used to it yet. But the big thing is, so we haven't seen a lot of class switching. So I'm just kind of hoping to see Feila maybe mix it up a little bit more. And I think that's going to give them the chance into this round. But I mean, if you had to give a score line here, this is so first to 3. This is a best of 5. What do you think is going to be the final score line here for this map?
I really do think Feila can get around. I do think it's heavily favored towards Engineer Fanclub. I feel that, it's going to require a little bit of off-classing. And when I say off-classing, I mean players playing classes that they're not, 100% comfortable with. They're not their mains. Who knows? Maybe if Proki was to switch off to Engineer and they played in a really aggressive style, that could really counter funds and not give Credu the time and space. I think they'll get around, but I have to say Engineer Fanclub are probably the strongest for this map. So I'm going to give it a 3-1 for Engineer Fanclub here.
We'll see what they can do. We're going to come out to this midpoint. Has Elikor a little bit questionable rollout there. As we can see, the red side coming out through bats. Actually, both teams coming out through bats, and pretty mirroring setup as Crew actually picks up the early first frag there onto the enemy heavy.
Yeah, look how far Bacon is across the point. He's so aggressive, and actually Feila are deciding to go underneath, and they've actually pressured Funds out, and Seeds is on his own here. Viljack is on him, trying to get some damage done. 22 HP, finally does finish him off. And Engineer Fanclub, reply! Elikor takes down Layla and Joe. Bacon came in for the cleanup. A really interesting choice of tactics there. Engineer Fanclub, actually no, middle comes in so much damage on the point. 1 HP on a Disky, 10 HP on Bacon. Oh my word, Sentry at 70 HP is the healthiest of the lot. He's going to be the one to cap. And actually, Poker comes in. He's going to clean up. He takes down 2. He's going to block the cap. And Feila, this mid-fight is still going on. A great shot from middle there. Jumps over and takes down a Disky. Credu is back in the fight. He domes Joe. And this mid-fight is still going on. But Feila look like to be the ones winning it.
Yeah, they just need to get that final capture on. The sniper is hard scoping onto the scout there. Wants to get a stab. Elikor. That was a nice, I think that was like a double shot there. And now this midpoint still has not been captured. It looks like we're going to see a re-engagement. Sniper does go down for Engineer Fanclub, but the frags are going out in their favor despite that. And it looks like finally we will get our first midpoint capture, but Feila, they look like they're not ready to give this up. They're going to try to contest this.
Yeah, they're still coming in. They know that it is pretty much an equal fight. Adisky gets aggressive, and Joe is going to go down, so no demo now. Point finally is captured by Engineer Fanclub. Ubers are traded, but Layla has to flash more time. She has more players on the point to protect. Elikor is going to get 100% of that. Over Ecox comes in from behind. He's going to take down Seeds with help from middle. Great flank there. Sendry is going to clean up a couple of players, but Feila should be able to capture his point. Sendry is on the prowl, though. Poker is on the watch out. He knows he's there, as does Joe. Tiki Trap is going to take him down. Predicted with ease. And Credu is going to get revenge onto Proki there after getting sniped a couple of times early on. But yeah, Feila back in control now, holding on to the point.
Nice job, and now we're getting to see the first team kind of set up. They're going to be holding on the ramp side, which can leave them a little bit exposed to bombs coming in from the bats area. And spam actually coming down from Elikor is taking down Layla down to 25% HP. And so she's actually going to rotate to play on the point, which is a little bit more aggressive, but it's a little bit harder to spam. And also gets a sandwich from her heavy. And so right now, this actually is giving Feila Esports the lead now, as we're going to see, looks like Engineer Fanclub is going to be pushing out from the ramp side, but they're down about 40% headshot, though, bringing out onto the heavy. And they're just going to probably force the Uber to come out here for the defense.
Credu there really helping his team. The Uber does come off. Bacon is very weak. As is Funds, they need some players to clean them up here. Viljack's the one who's going to try and do it. Joe is on the chase, but is unable to take down Seeds. And that means he's going to have 100% Uber advantage over Layla. They are missing a couple of players. They used the Uber really, really early on here. Questionable. Maybe they were scared of a sniper, I don't know. And Elikor is going to get dropped from that. So V-Clock's there doing well just to deflect and keep his men alive. But no, Funds comes in from behind. He's going to take down Layla. And that is going to preserve C's uber advantage as long as he stays alive. There's a lot of aggression coming in from Feila, but they've lost too many players. They're going to have to give up this cap now.
Yeah, I mean, especially because that whole fight happened while Feila controlled the point. All of these respawns, all the people that died, that got traded out, they're going to be in a slow respawn wave, and so that's going to allow them to capture this point. But, I mean, they took so long, Engineer Fanclub, to capture this point. That's going to allow, actually, Feila to get all their players back alive and maybe try to do a recontest here, dry push. They are down about 20%, and here we go. Joe going over the top, trying to find some damage, does get about half HP down onto the enemy medic. Seats going down, but no one's able to follow it up there. And so far, no real class switching from either side. Both teams kind of holding tight, and it looks like Feila is just going to bully out Engineer Fanclub here.
Yeah, there was a good snipe there onto Kredu, so Proki winning the sniper battle at the moment. And that just allowed them to be so aggressive. One point of note, actually, is that Feila Esports in Highlander, actually I'm going to come back to that thought in a minute as Uber comes in. Viethoofd and Poker are dropped from this. Layla is at 99%. She finally gets it, but she's lost her entire team. She's only got Viljak for company. He's going to take down the scout middle. Comes in from behind, and middle takes down Seeds. That is huge. Viljak is getting all of the heals here. They have control of the point. They just need to regroup now, and they're going to be in an advantage situation. Viljak actually kicks down a Disky, who was actually on the chase. And Elikor is all alone here. Has to be careful because he's not got company. Finally, Funds joins him onto the point. But really strong exchange. It looked to be going really, really badly. But Lele popping that Uber onto Viljak, and he was able to take down enough players to win the fight.
I don't know how a team can do literally everything wrong. They were completely out of position, Feila was, and yet they still somehow come out on the top. And then Engineers, Fanclub, they got so desperate to get frags that they chased all over the place. Middle in the backfield, taking down Funds to help out his team. As we see Cindery, he's going to go for a flank play. Spy is out here for a Disky. Does take down the enemy sniper, so that's going to open it up. Kredu is going to get a lot more aggressive. That's where the Spy plays can help themselves out. And here we go, Cindery coming in from behind, but he's going to get spotted out. Not able to make the play. 10 seconds left. We'll see what Engineer Fanclub can do here.
Yeah, they got to get onto the point now. It is going to be overtime for Feila, which means they just have to recapture this point, or at least defend it as the Uber comes out. Seeds doesn't have his charge yet. Funds is on fire, has to run away. And actually, they just stand on the point, and it's going to be the first round to Feila. And I was going to go back to my previous thought there, Sigafu. In Europe, we don't play Ashville, we play Coal Plant, which is a very, very similar map. And in Highlander, Feila Esports basically just beat everybody on Coal Plant last season. They won it in the grand final, they won it in the regular season against the team that won Highlander. So this is a map they're comfortable with, as Middle gets aggressive early on, and a Disky gets domed there by Proki. First pick goes to Feila. Looks like it's not going to deter Engineer Fanclub from trying to control the point. But Ascendry is going to try and get something done. Actually, he lands on the head of Poker. He's going to take him down. And he's going to maybe take down Viljak. No, he's got too strong there. Viljak on the chase. And he takes down Funds as well. And Procky takes down Seeds. What is Feila doing? They, like you said, they're not in the right position, but they somehow win the fight.
They seem to be just the team that does everything wrong but comes out on top. They're that person you hate. You're like, what do you do in life that somehow, or were you born with a golden spoon in your mouth? Like, what is going on that you can have every disadvantage in that you do, but you somehow still win it? They're just winning the DM battles at the right times. I think Engineer Fanclub is overextending at the wrong times, and what should have been a mid-fight in the favor of Engineer Fanclub looks like we might be going into the first half in the favor of Feila, so we'll see what they can do. Times 2 on the point, but they should be contested. 100% Uber on the defensive side, and the bomb's coming in, but it's going to actually get the force off. I'm not sure why they actually ended up getting that force off. Feila didn't go down that low.
Kredu flying through the air, and he gets taken out. Poker actually gets credit for the kill, but it was so much damage from Joe. But they've lost a couple of players here. V-Clocks is going to take down Bacon. Funds is the next on his agenda, but he's going to run away. Very, very weak. And Seeds goes down. Seeds goes down. Middle was in behind in the lobby, and Seeds has actually died. So Uber advantage for Layla, and they still control the point, Sigafu. And it's just these individual plays right now. Viljak and Middle and Proki, they're just killing the right players at the right time, and they're winning the game for their team.
I mean, that was a beautiful combination play of the Pyro and Heavy focusing down the same targets at the same time. Just, they had no chance. And so right now, currently a minute on the clock in favor of Feila, and it hasn't even really been contested by Engineer. Engineer fan club, as they also have advantage coming up to 100% Feila is, as they pick up 2 more frags. Beautiful job, as they're going to walk across the point. They're just going to go for the frag here. Actually, the medic gets disconnected. Soldier in over the top. Nice reconnection, saving the demo man right there. But Seeds is the only one left alive. No! The Pyro, that's a wipe going down in the favor of Feila Esports, as they continue to dominate on Ashville.
That was so clinical. The sticky trap opened the door, and I can hear Joe's voice in my head yelling, "We're over it, go forward!" And just the entire team swarmed over and just cleaned them up. Even if they didn't get the medic there, the fact that they wiped them would have bought them enough time, just to add to the clock. But the fact is they did get Seeds, and Seeds has been dying a lot more than Layla so far on this map. Layla with the Uber advantage again. Middle comes in for the bomb. He gets so much damage. Seeds really, really weak. But has to back off here, and they've also lost Joe. So finally, Engineer Fan Club should be able to get the cap here. They're getting a lot of frags. Poker is very weak, but no one's close enough to really chase him. He's just kind of watching this area, getting some arrows from his medic. And they're probably going to repush this with repush with this advantage. Sigafu, sorry, getting my tongue twisted here. There's so much action going on. But yeah, they have actually used the Uber, and it's not great. Oh no, Proki! Proki gets the frag. I mean, it doesn't matter if your Uber isn't effective, if your sniper can just headshot the enemy medic anyway. I'm not sure if that was a drop. Seeds was at 90-something%, I'm surely sure, and gets taken out. So Feila, once again, individual plays are winning them the game, as just getting these kills onto Seeds. Layla with the advantage again, only 40 seconds left on the clock for them to go. Joe just on the respawn, so there's not going to be any sticky traps to help them this time. They have to be careful of these advancing players. But Engineer Fan Club have to do something desperate here. Idiski goes in from the bomb. He's going to get denied. Wow, the scout, the heavy, the pyro just launch him into the skybox. They're all over the point here. The Uber is not ready for Layla, but they're getting the frags. Middle comes in, picks up his 3rd kill in a row. And this is looking really, really bad for Engineer Fan Club right now.
I mean, I think the word you used before was clinical, and that's exactly what we saw here. I mean, Kritzkast is the only one left alive. He's going to try to go for a dome headshot onto the sniper. There's still a little bit of time left in. As he actually kill? No, the Uber comes here to defend the point, and that's going to take us to this first half in this best of 5 series. So just one more round for Feila, and we're going to go into an overtime round on Upward. But honestly, I would love to take this STV, you show it to a team, and that is how you play. Like, sometimes, as you said, we've been calling them out because they've been out of position, but still winning the fights. But that last push right there, they allowed the enemy team to push into them. The heavy took them down, and basically they kind of like baited the enemy team onto the point and then just collapsed around them at the same time. Just beautiful play coming out of Feila, as we're going to get to the next round in 90 seconds. I don't know if we can do some quick logs here.
Yeah, I can take a quick look, actually. Just trying to get them on my screen. I don't think it... Yeah, go for it. What do you spot first?
It's the wave of blue. I mean, scores are pretty close. Damage is not that far apart. But the top 5 players, unsurprisingly, are all Feila. Middle with 14 frags, Vidjak with 12, Joe at 12, Proki at 11, and V-Clock's at 11 as well. So not that far apart from the enemy team, but we're going to get out here. This is going to be match point for Feila, and we'll see what they can do as we come on to this next mid-fight.
Yeah, Engineer Fan Club, we're going to have to switch something up maybe. Maybe try some different classes. They did test the Spy to get the sniper down. Middle goes for the early bomb, gets 1 rocket on Seas, gets the 2nd one. Can he get the 3rd? No. Kredu is going to railgun him down. But Seeds can't really walk forward, and V-Clox is going to come in and finish the job. He takes down 2. And this is absolutely insane. Like, they're just following up on the damage. Elikor is actually on Soldier now, and Adiski on Demo. So they've not changed the classes, but they've changed the players playing those classes. Maybe Adiski is feeling, this is more Highlander-like. I want to play Demo, the class that I absolutely dominate in Highlander. He's taking enough damage to force him out the fight. And this 3rd mid-fight is going to go to Feila. And Seeds going down there means that Layla has Uber. I mean, Middle comes in, he's the distraction, he gets the damage down, and V-Clox doesn't care about throwing his life away just to get that medic down. So really well played by him. They lose a couple, and Engineer Fan Club trying to dry push this. They may get Ubered on here.
And they do take down the Delman early on here, only 38% for the medic. They're trying to chase them down. Yes, Seeds. Beautiful, beautiful stickies coming out of Joe there as they control the point. Control the Uber advantage once again, and that's one of the things that they've been doing a really good job, is that when they have Uber advantage, they're making sure to continue to keep that Uber advantage by going after the enemy medic. That's something they struggled with on the payload map, was killing Seeds with their Uber advantage, Seeds did a good job of getting away, but this time around, I think almost every single time Feila has wanted to kill Seeds, they've been able to do that as a Disky taken out early on. Their nice headshot there.
Yeah, well played by them, and actually they're getting some cap time. Funz is on the point, and Sendry is going to get aggressive, but he gets counter-pyroed. Funz has got about 50% of the cap time there, and a nice body shot from Kredu is going to take down Joe, so no demo spam to deny this push, and that's probably good enough for a repush here. Joe on a long spawn compared to everyone else, but Viljak is causing havoc, just picking up some frags here and there. Now Feila have chalked off nearly 1.5 minutes now. Engineer Fanclub are yet to cap the point in this third round, and if it ends that way, then it is going to be Feila Esports forcing it to a deciding map onto Upward as Adisky dies again to Proki. So Proki just watching these sidelines. Look how aggressive Poker is! He's practically on the enemy spawn. He's so far across the map.
And here we go. Actually, oh my god, Middle! What a great bait, is they knew that the soldier was going to go in for a bomb onto the enemy sniper, Proki, and so then Middle just hit around a corner, so then he killed this soldier as soon as he bombed in. Here comes out the Uber charge, it's going to be traded out onto each side, Middle over the top, getting some damage down, and look at this wrapping happening from the blue side. They're completely locking them in, as well as the heavy over the top, the Franks coming out, as only 3 players left alive here. Feila, god, just so beautiful in their play style, doing great wraps around the enemy team. They basically, it's not Engineer Fanclub who's making the plays. Feila is making them make the plays. Like, they are making them do what they do, and then they're just punishing for them. They're baiting them into the pushes across the point, and they're just wrapping them so well. Just great job, as this might be a clean 3-0 in the favor of Feila with only 30 seconds left on the clock.
Yeah, this is do or die now. No Ubers in play though, so it's basically going to be a dry push from Engineer Fanclub. Adisky the first one forward, he's getting pressured away by the Pyro. Brokey finishes him off. And another couple of kills coming in. Seeds goes down. Middle is on a 6k. Trades his life for the heals. And that just means Feila have to hold on to this point, keep their players alive. Viljak and Poker. And it is only Funz alive. Can he come in? No, Poker is going to finish him off. And that is a whitewash on this third round. 3-0 to Feila. And they're going to take this map. And I have to say, I mean, all things considered, people would have thought Feila, you know, a Prem Highlander team, a lot of Prem Highlander players, a lot of experience, would have been more successful on a Highlander map like Badwater. Highlander players are on the Engineer Fanclub team. We got some excellent Highlander players, but they have a lot of Sixes experience. So something like, Ashville would be more suited to them. But they've just been totally dominated here. And it's really going to leave things totally open for Upward.
Yeah, and actually we're going to do our ceremonial head coin, because we don't have a really decider of like who actually, both these teams are evened out. So we're going to do a little coin flip here. I'm going to get up the coin of who's going to start out on offense. Yeah, so we're going to do that. Why don't you take a look at logs? I'm going to get these teams set up for the next round here, CJ.
Okay, so I'm going to take a look at this. It's just one round, obviously. And the first thing that jumps out to me is there are 2 players that didn't actually die. Layla didn't die, neither did Poker. So clearly Poker just babysitting his medic, getting a lot of heals, but doing a good job of it. And I have to say, one of the things that won them a late fight there was the fact that Poker was on the enemy side and he was fighting somebody, I think it was Funz, and then he was left alone. He was able to walk up to the enemy battlements, walk above the middle doorway, and when the entire Uber exchange was over, he was still there uncontested. So, the fact that he did all of that and still didn't die during the game, 437 DPM coming out from a heavy, pretty crazy stuff indeed. Viljak and Kredu actually top fragging. They're both getting 7 kills apiece. But talking about players who didn't get any deaths, there was actually a lot of people who didn't get any kills. I mean, ignoring the medics, Ellicor, Adisky, and Baker not getting any kills on that final round. It was just that one last round in the second half. So really hard to decipher who did, the way that the play was, because it was very team-based. It was very much Feila being much more organized. But I mean, 29 kills to 12, nearly double the damage as well. Only 3 Uber charges were used in the entire time of that 3-minute round. So very, very interesting stuff indeed. But that just leaves me nowhere to predict where Upward's going to go.
Yeah, it's really going to be a blind, and this is one and done. This is it. The one thing that might favor, I think it's going to favor actually Engineer Fanclub, is that this map can be a little bit stalematey at times. Not stalematey, but it can slow down is a better way to put it. Because particularly like on the third point, right? If you get a good hold on the third point, it can be somewhat hard to attack. There is flank routes to be able to be made. Pyros are able to like go, through that side house. And heavies are pretty good as well, but I kind of think this actually might favor Engineer Fanclub, because the thing that we saw is like Feila is a fantastic team except when they get stopped. Like as soon as they get stopped, they have no, like they struggle with momentum and figuring out how to re-push from there. So I think if we see Feila, if they can fix that problem, they'll be totally fine. But if not, I think then it's going to be Engineer Fanclub who wins the game, as we get everybody loaded up here for this This is amazing. This is awesome. Coming into the grand finals overtime round.
Yeah, I mean, it's always great when a grand final goes to a best of 3. Not if you're playing it. You don't want that kind of pressure placed on you. You prefer to just have a 2-map clean sweep. But as a neutral, as an observer, it's always great to see as much action being played and seeing all the different maps in the rotation as well. I have to I have to agree. Again, a payload map, you can argue it's going to favor Feila Esports. They are, the players like Joe, players like Layla, and Poker did finish runners-up in Premiership Highlander last season. But on the opposite team, you have Funds, you have a Disky, who are part of the Strong Opinions team that beat them in the final. You also have a Sendry, one of the best pyros in Europe in recent years. You also have... who else was I going to say? Bacon, sorry, who, around the season 10 time, that combo of a Disky and Bacon was the combo for Fair Enough in the grand final of season 10 Premiership Highlander. So these guys have got experience in spades when it comes to maps like this. So, it's not going to be a case of, Sixers players don't understand. Going to be interesting to see if Elikor stays on demo. Or if a Disky's going to take it up and say, I want to do it now, because he did that on that last round of Ashville, and a Disky is much more suited to playing demo in Highlander, and whether he just says to Elikor, you need to play something else. But we'll have to see what they decide. But I'm going to be expecting engineers and maybe some spy plays coming out, because we've not seen that much spy. When it has come out, it's nullified the snipers, so maybe that's a good thing, because these snipers are doing really, really well today.
Well, and especially on a payload map, taking down that enemy sniper allows you to open up your sniper. And I think even more, like Ashville, the sniper angles, he doesn't have a lot of angles to go for, right? Like it's kind of like a cross point slightly, but you can easily dodge him. Inside of payload maps, especially in upward, the sight lines are so long. I really do think that running a spy, particularly on offense, can help your team out, because it allows you to like, okay, we killed a sniper, we can now walk uphill. Right, you don't have to worry about walking into that sight line. But I'll be curious. I mean, I don't think we'll see a lot of spy, just because the trend is that we haven't. We've seen more spy plays coming out of Engineer Fanclub than Feila Esports, and I mean, we'll see what they can do. But that's just one thing that I think is a little bit lacking. But it's also just, I think, it comes with a little bit of inexperience. They just haven't. All these teams. This is the first time all of these teams are playing Prolander, so they don't have. We currently are almost a year in. We're on our 3rd season in North America, so you can kind of see how teams are what they like and what they don't like. Hopefully we'll get them readied up here pretty soon as they're deciding sides. It's going to be Engineer Esports who are going to decide the sides. It looks like they're going to choose to start on offense, which is not uncommon. Since the nice thing is, because of the faster pace of Prolander, having a good time is puts your enemy under more pressure. And Highlander, the times are so slow, it gives you more time to work with. But in Prolander, given that you usually are like sub 7 minutes, sub 8 minutes, usually you want that on your side. Make the enemy team feel a little bit more pressured.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think attacking first, people like to set a fast time. They might have some strats that they don't want to showcase or something. Just set a fast time, get it done, and then when you're on the defense, you're able to know how much time you can really give to each point. And there may be an opportunity where you think, do we really need to hold on to the first point, or do we need to back off and give themselves some time? So yeah, it's quite a common thing I see in game modes where people like to have that attacking phase first. We'll have to see what Engineer Fanclub do. Like you said, it's a best of 1, so this is for all the bacon. Whoever wins this is going to win the grand final, and it's really hard to say. I mean, I think both teams have played really well. Badwater was really, really interesting. We saw a fairly slow time to begin with, and the times got faster, I think, as the teams adapted to each other and kind of understood the game mode a little bit more. Ashville was just really controlled performance from Feila, which was surprising, I think, to me and to probably a lot of people when you look at the players who are on show here. So Upward, I think, is going to be a total coin flip. No idea how it's going to go. And yeah, I'm excited to see what kind of plays come out here. Talking about the Spy, I think the difference here is that there's a lot of players who would normally play Spy are on classes that they want to switch off of. Wheeljack is, well known as a Spy, but I think he's wanting to play Scout because he wants to push that cart. He doesn't want to, deny that cart pressure from his team. Whereas on Engineer Fanclub, there's no one really that you could say is a Spy main who has a lot of experience on Spy. I think the highest would be a Disky. He's played a couple of UGC Platinum seasons as Spy here and there, but nothing too serious. So I think it's just a case of these players want to play the classes that they're most comfortable with. Obviously the ones that are important to the situation. But yeah, we saw barely any off-classing on Ashville. And yeah, I'm interested to see, we saw in Badwater middle running Engineer on the first few points, and then on last switching off to Soldier. Wonder if he does it on this point, and whether he's taken a leaf out of the Engineer Fan Club book and just keep Engineer throughout the entire game.
Yeah, and it's one of those things. We'll see how they want to kind of mix it up. We do need a little bit of a server extension here, so we should be going live not too long from now. But yeah, I'm kind of curious, as you said, kind of what classes we'll see them mixing up. But I don't know. I mean, it's just one of those things. But kind of coming into this so far, I mean, you did the Challenge Cup with me way back in the day, right? You were on that cast.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And do you see kind of a difference kind of in the playstyle? I guess this is still kind of like a little bit, new as well. Because you've only casted one North American game, I think, besides that with me, because it's always so late for you,
Yeah, it's always early in the morning, and gotta go out and earn a crust. Gotta get my wages from my job, unfortunately. But yeah, I mean, I do remember that Challenge Cup. I think the biggest difference I noticed was that both teams ran perma spies, and
right.
That was before the Jungle Inferno update. So we saw these spies running Deadringer, we saw them running Ambassador, and they were just headshotting and just really, really getting so many frags. And there was just this perma spy. Didn't see much pyro at all. It was pretty much just perma spy. What we see here, just minus the pyro. So the attacking team would have scout, soldier, demo, heavy or engineer, sniper, medic, spy, things like that. So pyro wasn't obviously in the rotation. I think after the update, with Ambassador not being as useful as it was, I would dare say pretty much useless compared to what it was. And the fact that Pyro does substantially more damage means that you'd be silly not to include a Pyro in your lineup. And it's kind of a risky play to have a Perma Spy, especially in the style that I saw the NA teams doing before that update. I think it would have been really interesting if Ambi and Deadringer were the same. I would expect to have seen people like Wheeljack running it. I do remember thinking at the time when I was casting, this would be great, get Toast on Spy, and and I remember thinking, but Steve, our Pyro, wouldn't be able to play because there's no Pyro, and that's just kind of flipped on its head. So it shows how the changes in the classes have changed the meta somewhat. I don't know if that's similar to NA. Is there more Spy played still than what we see today?
There's a lot more Spy played. Like, I would say, so Spy has been played maybe like 5% of the time, which is, I mean, that's usually like you see at least like most of the classes coming out. But I'd say in NA, most teams run either like a full-time Spy or like a Spy or somebody who's going to switch, like is known to switch off to Spy. Like, for instance, like Froyatech, they run Eric on Engineer and Pyro, and then he'll switch up to Spy on occasion to be able to do that. If the game that Boar was getting shut down on, he was switching to Spy because he wasn't doing anything on Sniper because the enemy Spy was focusing him down so much, it just kind of really is kind of dependent on the team, but a lot of teams have Spy mains on there kind of taking over those flex roles and stuff like that. So you do see that coming out a lot, and that's why you're again seeing, I mean, we've been talking about a lot, it's ad nauseum, so I don't want to like beat it into the ground, but that's why you're seeing the snipers go off so much these games. It's because they don't have their counter, because the thing is inside of this game mode with the current ban list is you cannot wear the Razorback, as we're going to be live in 90 seconds. So not having the Razorback means spies are what they should be, the counter to sniper, so you can run up and get that backstab and open up the game completely. So we'll see as we get going on here, guys in chat. So shout it out. What do you want? What do you think? Who's going to be taking this? Is it going to be Feila taking it out? Are they going to be able to win this in this best of one and upward? Or is it going to be Engineer Fanclub? A lot of Prem players, 7s, and Ascent kind of a mix coming out here. Who's going to be coming out on top? It's almost like a Highlander 6s kind of a thing, you know? I mean, obviously, both these guys have players who play both, but as you said kind of at the start, it kind of feels like that. And this fast pace, it's really just kind of a question of Feila. Can they break through when Feila gets slowed down on payload? Will they be able to break through? And I'm kind of curious to see that myself.
The term ace up their sleeve has entered my mind because Seeds has left. I'm not sure whether he's got other priorities that he has to disappear to. Maybe he's got something else. But the person who they've got in to replace him is Sandburn. Now, it looks like what they're going to do is switch Bacon onto Medic. Not a class I've seen him play a lot of. In 6s, he's kind of a soldier main, and obviously a heavy main in Highlander. But hey, you know, Medic you can pick up pretty quickly with the experience. But Sandburn is a heavy, formerly of SDCK, twice heavy of the season, and was also MVP of the season as a heavy. So he has a lot of experience on the class. Pretty much a big name player in the European Highlander scene over the past 12 months. So I'm gonna dare say it's a big upgrade. No disrespect to Seed, he's very talented, and there's a reason why 7 are trialing him as a medic in 6s. But to have someone who totally knows Highlander and his class in that way is a big thing for Engineer Fanclub here, and I think they're going to be feeling pretty excited. But looking at the defense, doesn't look like they have an engineer, Sigafru. It looks like Poker's on heavy, Viljak on Spy, V-Clock's on Pyro, and middle is running Soldier. So this is a totally different lineup. Actually, no, Viljak's gone on to Scout now, just checking classes perhaps, but no engineer, and I dare say that's a bit of a mistake.
Yeah, I've seen teams try to run, particularly inside of the North American scene. Velocity Esports has tried to run no engineer, but it's just not good, because the thing is that not running engineer is fine as long as you keep even. But the engineer is kind of your get out of jail free card. As soon as you kind of go down, they have to deal with the sentry gun while they're pushing, which can be a hassle. Now, this first point doesn't do a lot for engineer, but it is still something. But you know what? We'll see. Feila, they have their strategy they're going with, and we'll find out pretty quickly whether or not it works. The other thing, too, is second point engineer is not generally that great. So maybe you just start out with this, ready to roll out to third, but I think not having it on first is a mistake, as Proki gets an early snipe here, winning that sniper v sniper battle, as well as Elikor going down on the cart.
Maybe they feel a little bit more mobility is what's needed, and they just want to kind of frag, which is what they're doing. Elikor is on the demo man with a Disky on the soldier, so starting to do that, but Bacon is out here. He's used the Uber very, very early on. Players are very weak, and the Uber is going to get forced by Layla, and they take down a Sentry and a Disky. Joe, taking most of the Uber, is going to get dropped in the end, but they do enough damage that it's going to probably actually instigate a repush here from Engineer Fanclub, as wow, Proki takes down funds. Can he take down? He takes down Credu as well. Can he get any more? Just trying to watch the players here. He's really keeping his team in. There's no teleporter because there's no engineer. So these respawns have been done. Takes down Elikor. So he's absolutely keeping his team on this first point right now. He's asking for buffs. Layla, heal that man. Keep him alive.
Yeah, and currently no one's even nearby him. If they switched off to a Spy on offense here, that would really help them out. He would be completely exposed. They'd have a free run-up at him, and he's hard scoping right now down the line. Like, anybody be able to decloak, run up the stairs, and be able to kill him. But right now, we can see Engineer Fanclub, they're just holding tight as he goes on to a 6K right now. Joe does go down, so no Devilman, and also, again, no engineers, no teleporter to be able to get him to the front lines super quickly, though, fortunately, with the sticky bombs, he can get not too slow. But Engineer Fanclub, they went to offense because they thought they could set the time, but right now, they are just floundering with doing nothing. They just need to go for a trade here.
Yeah, there is a horn being used, a banner. It's from the defensive team. I think middle's just holding onto it. It is the battalions, which takes less damage. One person who needed that was Layla. She drops to the pipes from Elikor. He's just flinging them over the top there. Medic down, and that's going to be the opening that they need. Battalions is used, but it's not enough to keep Poker alive. They get some frags. They're trying to get Bacon middle. He gets him just before he gets into the spawn. That is absolutely huge. Huge Uber advantage was going to be in there for Bacon. If his team survived, they haven't captured the first point. I don't think they're going to try and defend it. Joe's actually there. I think he's got sticky traps on the car. He's going to take down funds. He's probably going to trade his life for it, but he's just slowing them down ever so more. And actually, the respawns are coming in. V-Clocks but no, Kredu takes down Layla Sigafu, so all of that was in vain. 17 seconds till she's up again.
Yeah, pretty nuts right there as they're continuing to roll this cart forward right now, but incredibly slow time out the gate for Engineer Fanclub. As you see the Heavy down in the lower area trying to defend this cart with the help of the Black Box Soldier as well. Adiski over the top though, he picks up one, should be able to pick up a second one as the respawn's coming up right now. Adiski does get taken out by Vidjack as the Soldier's coming onto the upper side to try to help take down some players. He ultimately just trades his life out, but here you go, the Scout going in onto the Sniper, picks up 2. Can he make it 3? As it looks like we have a... They are going to... Something is going on right now.
Looks like, yeah, Viljack, looking at the pause screen, I think he's gonna get bacon. Judging by what people are saying in chat, we have some of the Feila team in chat. It sounds like the enemy team left and didn't want to finish the map.
Well, apparently,
apparently it was the wrong config and they didn't want to try again. So it does look like in the end that's going to be a default win on that final map to Feila Esports. So they are the Prolander One Day Cup champions.
Well, I'm waiting for the official word here from Kredu, the leader, to confirm that he is in fact giving up, which would be disappointing in its own front, but kind of interesting in its own way. I think it just shows the dominance of what Feila was able to do there. But while we're waiting to get his response about what's going on, as it does sound like the config was wrong, let's just talk real quick, guys. If you guys are interested about Prolander, you want to give it a chance yourself, you can sign up right now, eu.rgl.gg. The first Prolander League is coming over to Europe with a prize pool of $1,000. So you guys can sign up right now. You can go do that, as it sounds like, yeah, Kredu, they are giving a default when the config was wrong, and I guess they were just a little bit too scared to have to play that out. They were getting stomped there at the end, by Feila. Feila really got their stuff together, and Feila just doing a better job at being able to play around all of the classes in the game. That's one thing that, despite having, really great DM, if you don't know how to play the classes inside of TF2, that can be a downfall, or be able to play around them. TF2 is more than just 4 classes, and Feila doing a good job at exemplifying that. So congrats to them, as they are going to be the grand champions of the One Day Cup. And I hope to see you guys register at eu.rgl.gg. Let's take a look at logs here as we close it out.
Yeah. I'm not sure
if there will be.
Logs. No, there won't be, yeah, because server reservation was ended, so it just ends the game.
Yeah, seems that way.
I think we can say for certainty that Proki was probably top fragging, because he was killing so many things on that first point. He was just unstoppable at one point. There were some decent Uber exchanges towards the end from Engineer Fanclub, but it really was Proki just picking people off. And if you've got a sniper killing 1 or 2 players every single time you want to push, makes it very difficult for you to win at that post-Uber fight with the player disadvantage. But yeah, well played by both teams. That was really exciting. The first 2 maps there went opposite to my predictions. I did believe those maps would be won by the opposite teams, but in the end, they proved me wrong.